born 1970 to two parents. They was married at the time. And then when I turned 4, my mother separated from my father. We moved to Chicago. Stayed there a year because my grandpa died. So my mother came back to St. Louis to take care of her mother. So I was raised by a single mom. And I went to mostly private schools growing up before junior high. And then I finally went to a public school when I got in 6th grade. We moved to a predominantly all-white community in the suburbs of St. Louis. So it was really hard at that time. We was the only black family out there. And it was like 2 black kids in the elementary school I went to. So I was subdued to a lot of racism. You know, I had a lot of friends, but this was like my first encounter of racism at its highest point. You know, being called the N-word and all type of stuff. And I was just, imagine I was only like 11, 12. You know, and I used to ask my mom, you know, I used to come home kind of hurt and stuff, but she always told me, do not hate people, love all people, you just have some ignorant people in the world. So the racism didn't ever turn me against other people who didn't look like me. Then went to high school, then that's when the peer pressure kicked in, and this time I got it from the black side, because they said I wasn't black enough. So there's another form of racism that I learned that I didn't know existed. So the blacks was like, make a choice. You either one of us or one of them. I chose to be one of them, which was the biggest mistake in my life. At 16, my whole life changed. I didn't have an identity. That was one of my issues. I never belonged anywhere. From the people who I thought that love me or I love, they showed signs of hatred too. Then the people that I thought, well, I'm one of you all, and they showed signs of hatred too. By that time, I didn't have a father. Well, I had a father, but he was on drugs, so he didn't really care. But my mama never really had the chance to teach me. She trusted that I was smart enough to make the right decisions, which I was. I never got in trouble as a kid. But that decision right there, I just caved in. My life was just going in ruins. I dropped out of college. I had been able to go to Mizzou up in Columbia, but I let friends talk me out of it, talking about you make more money selling drugs on the corner. I started using, and so I would rather use than sell. That led me to drugs and alcohol. You know, it led me to my addiction. I just wanted to be accepted, you know, because my white friends didn't accept me, so I figured, okay, the black people accept me, but they really didn't accept me. So yeah, I didn't fit in nowhere. So that's what intensified my drug usage, because I became isolated from the world. And so I just said, I'm gonna spend all my time getting high. So that led to crimes, because you know, when you run out of money, the next thing you do is crime. So I caught a few cases. Then the last case I caught sentenced me to 18 years in penitentiary. Well, in prison, I made a conscious decision that I wasn't using drugs anymore. Then as I was getting closer, I needed some place to go. I wasn't going back to St. Louis. I was dead against that. If I could avoid that at all possible. The PO there gave me a bunch of applications and I filled them out. A lot of them wanted money because I was saving money. I was saving in prison. So when I got to Victory, filled out Victory. Mark and I talked and he accepted me. I came in and my mindset was just to get on the right track. I realized that even though I may not do drugs and alcohol, I still had to have a plan. See, without a plan, you still gonna revert probably back to drugs and alcohol eventually as time go on if you're not finding success out here. See, and after being locked up that long, you institutionalized. So you like, man, I should have stayed in prison. I had a home, I didn't have no bills, no responsibilities, all of that. And once I hit Victory, And I started taking the classes, and my mind just started working. And I knew this is what I wanted. I wanted a life that God intended for me to have. I wanted a life of peace, joy, love. I wanted all of that, man. I wanted to feel this. I wanted to live life. And I used to always say in prison, man, when I get out, I'm gonna live. I'm gonna live my life. Not knowing how I was gonna live, but I just knew I wanted to live life. I went to Jobs for Life. We was coming up on days where we had to speak. We had to do an autobiography, stand up and tell everybody about your life. And I was like, man, I can't do that. You know what I'm saying? But Miss Norma said, look at me. And so I still looked down, then she grabbed my face and say, look at me. And then she say, you are a child of God. She said, you are worthy and you deserve to have a good life. And when she told me I was a child of God, it clicked. And no one ever told me that. You know, that was missing. Now I got my identity. I said, I know who I am right now. And I'm going forward. And ever since then, Miss Norma's been like my grandmother, but in a spiritual way. That lady like really changed my life. So I went to phase 3 in March. So my time was running out. I don't know, something during that time, I just started planning. I started planning, and I was like, I gotta have a plan, because I can't stay here forever. So I wanted to like look into getting an apartment. I had a mentor, Andy Compton, and me and Andy used to talk, and I said I would like to live in a house, and he said if he could help me, he would. And so he helped me, and we did it. We got the house done, and now I got my own house, and I'm paying mortgage. and I got ideas for my house, so now I have a project to do. I feel like a man. I finally know what the meaning of a man is. You know, I never knew that growing up. A man, God said a man is head of his household, and he has responsibilities. A man is supposed to work. It feels good to be responsible. It feels good to pay bills, because I've never done that. It feels good that you can tell people that I'm gonna pay this on this date, and you do it. You know, my word is everything. Now I'm trustworthy. That's what I wanted. That's all I ever wanted, was just to be trustworthy. I wanted to get the trust back. When people can trust for whatever Doug Sanders say, it's gonna happen. It's gonna be. You know, if I make a commitment to you, I'm gonna stand on that commitment. And them bills are the same way. If city utilities giving me heat, I'm gonna pay them for their heat. If AT&T giving me cable and sports, I'm gonna pay them for that. My house, I'm gonna pay to live, to have shelter, to have a roof over my head. My car, I'm gonna pay to drive transportation. I'm gonna pay for all of that. So I look forward to every month to pay bills and to work hard. This is what I work hard for, to pay bills and to try to help others out there in the streets. You know, I remember passing through a lot of people, they always, oh, bills, bills, bills. You know, but I'm inside talking about I love bills. You know, I love it. I get the, you know, I got my little book where I write down every month each bill, and oh, I paid that, check that off, check that off, check that off. So it's all a part of living. So I'm living. I know who I am, and I know what I'm going to do and what I'm not going to do. So I have very good self-discipline, and that's one of the fruits of the Spirit: self-discipline, self-control. God picked each and every individual that you have spoken of, or I have spoken of specifically, and put them in my life. They didn't just fall into my life. He put them into my life because he knew the people that's in my life, he knew those are the people that I needed in my life specifically. And that's how I look at it. Those people, starting with Mark. You know, Mark had, at the time, it was just a few of us in the program. So me and Mark used to talk every day. And then all the other people just fell in. Andy. The reason I got Andy, because then nobody signed up for him. So let me get him. And then look what happened. It blossomed. It's normal. Where she come from? This old lady. Me and her husband, her husband passed away, and I just been there with her, man. Every week I try to be there with her. Andy, Colin came kind of late. I still get a lot from him. Donna Roberts from SMC. I mean, she's beautiful because this is a big company that take chances on addicts and felons. Most companies ain't gonna do that because we not trustworthy. See, and that's what I tell you about trust. I want trust. I want you to be able to trust me. Donna, give me a job. I'm gonna show up and I'm gonna show out. And that's what I've been doing. And all the restoration men been doing it. Every restoration man that I know that came through SMC are still there. I never imagined I'd be making almost 20 bucks. When you in prison, you thinking, oh man, I gotta go to McDonald's and get a job. And that's what make guys go back to selling drugs, because they feel like their record is not gonna allow them to advance. But you got to surrender your life to God to get to this advancement. Cause God gonna do what he gonna do. But it's all the people, man. It's all the administration, you, Janelle, Miss Rachel. I can name them all that crossed my path since I've been here, that played an influence on my life. God is faithful, and God promises stand. That's the bottom line, man. Look at me. I'm 49 years old, going on 50. I spent half my life in addiction in prison, and look at where I'm at now. So that answers the question. And this was not because of Doug Sanders. This was because of God. Life is a victory, man. I have the victory. We all have the victory. If you are a follower of Jesus, you have the victory. When people look at me, I want them to see God, man. That's all. You looking at a living testimony. So if you can see it, you can be it. You like that?